I'm currently in debt and living with my parents, but I have a plan to build $100 million fortune. You're probably thinking I'm crazy or delusional, maybe, but every massive success story started as something what seemed to be like an impossible goal. And today I'm going to share my 3-step blueprint, how I will make it happen, how I'm going to make money, how I'm going to invest my money, and how I actually ensure that it all happens. But first, let's start with the definition of wealth. From my point of view, a wealthy person is the one that makes capital allocation decisions for a living. So he doesn't work in a traditional sense. He just thinks, makes a decision, and allocates capital. Think Warren Buffett. He just thinks, reads, converses with people, with his management or whatever, and then he makes a decision. Maybe once or twice per year. But these decisions last for decades. And compare it to a normal person that just works and makes a salary. I'll give you a video game analogy. Wealthy people play top-down strategy game. Not wealthy people play first-person shooter games. And the only way to become wealthy is to have equity. To become wealthy, you need to start your own company or to invest in someone else's company. That's really it. So the first part of my plan is to become a media mogul. To have several media companies. And I'm doing media for almost 2 years. I first started in Russian 2 years ago. And then I switched to English, but whatever. The more media you produce, the more people are watching you, the more wealthy you become. So that's the cornerstone of my plan, to build a personal brand. With personal brand, you get an audience that can become your clients in the future. For example, I had a Russian YouTube channel and I don't upload there for almost 6 months, but it still brings me some money from ad revenue. And the same with almost every media you produce on the internet. You just upload it once and it works for you for the rest of your life, actually. A lot of people with huge personal brands also sell courses or consultations. And that's a really tempting business because you have like 90% profit margins. And that will probably become my plan later, to get some initial cash flow from selling courses or selling consultations. But the thing that matters most in entrepreneurship is that you solve some other person's problem. Your business, your products should be client-oriented. You should build something that other people will want. Apart from the personal brand, you can build just media brands. For example, I have an affiliate media website which is called businesstools.io, and I plan to launch dozens of media brands. The media machine just works. You can upload your thoughts to the internet and someone might like them and give you their time, attention, and money. The only 2 scalable paths of building wealth from scratch is either media or software. So if you don't want to do media, you should do software. And that's really it. That's the only 2 options you have. So along with media, I will be building software. I actually want to become a technology company founder. But first I will need to find a unique problem I want to solve. Because the next great technology founder would not be operating system founder or social media founder, or even artificial intelligence founder. He's going to build something that is not yet in circulation, so to speak. So I need to find my opportunity and my own unique problem. But right now I'm just building side projects with my technical co-founder, which is my brother. So I work as a front-end developer. My brother is a back-end developer. And that way we build the projects and share the profits. So I will just have equity in several projects that bring revenue over time. And when I will have enough capital and the idea I want to bring to life, then I will make my startup. But right now I'm just building leverage. I'm building the reputation, I'm building the audience, I'm building income streams, and then I can channel it to something greater. So that concludes the first part of my plan. The second part is to actually invest the money I have. And it doesn't matter how much you're bringing in actually. What matters most is how much you save. Because if you spend every dollar you make, you don't really have nothing. So my investment strategy is first to come out of the debt that I have. I financed an expensive MacBook to make my videos better, but I need to pay off that debt. Then I need to establish a war chest. So the budget for my businesses, the budget for my projects. A pile of money that I can invest back into my businesses. And then I plan to invest initially 30% of income into the stock market. And I actually love investing. I invest in cryptocurrencies, I invest in companies, preferably in ETFs, because you don't need to think, you just allocate money and that's it. 3 years ago, I was tryharding my investments. I was building discounted cash flow models. I was thinking about each investment. I was reading a lot, I was researching a lot, hundreds of hours before investing in some company. But right now I'm just throwing money in whatever I like and then just forget about it. That way I can actually focus on making money, and that's the most important thing. Because if you don't have a lot of capital, you should focus on making money first. I'm not going to lie, I will speculate sometimes. For example, I will short some stocks, I will allocate capital to crypto airdrops, for example, or make a venture capital firm. That's all speculation and high risk investments. But initially, as I only start to acquire some capital, I need to invest it aggressively and I need to make some risky decisions. But the things I will be focusing on is reinvesting back into my own companies and to reinvest into safe things, S&P 500 or even US Treasury bonds when I become older. But the thing with investments is that you can really be a midwit. You can be an average person, but you still can be wealthy if you just invest your money into the stock market. Over the long enough time horizon, in 40 years, in 30 years, it's just inevitable that you become a millionaire. It's just inevitable. But I don't just want to become wealthy in 50 years, so that's why I need to become an entrepreneur and start my own companies. And that's related when it comes to investments. The third part of the plan is to actually ensure that I will achieve this goal. And how can I ensure it? The thing that is the most important is to don't quit. So I need to be a resilient person that just don't stop at the first sign of difficulties. And that's maybe the most important thing in entrepreneurship. You don't just outcompete people. Sometimes you just outlive people. Because there is a very small portion of people that make media for years. There were a lot of times where I wanted to quit, to be honest. And I'm glad I didn't. Because with every day that I work on my projects, they actually come to fruition. They actually bring more and more audience, more money, and so on. In my humble opinion, the only people that don't succeed in entrepreneurship is the ones that quit. Over the long enough time horizon, you just become successful if you're an entrepreneur. The first couple of years are tough. And I was thinking maybe a couple of months will be tough, but it's really years. Then you become somewhat successful, then you become somewhat free and you acquire capital and it becomes easier and easier and easier. Like Charlie Munger, the Warren Buffett partner, said, your first $100,000 is really difficult, but it becomes so much easier from there. And I can see why is that. The more successful you're becoming, the more success you're attracting. It's the same with everything, with money especially, because you can just throw money into something and it brings you more money. It's just how it works. And your first initial capital is hard to grow, but then you have more and more and more and it just grows like a snowball. So you don't have any options to fail if you just don't quit. If you just work and work and work, no matter how much it will take. I still live with my parents even though I worked for 2 years almost. So brace yourself because your success won't come that easy. The next thing that will ensure my centimillionaire status is diligence with finance. I will track every dollar I make and every dollar I spend. And without financial discipline, you can't really make it. Because you can't really improve something you can't measure. Again, it doesn't matter how much you're making. What matters most is how much you end up with. I will also be living well below my means, so I will have very low expenses. Because your expensive lifestyle can become your opponent's opportunity. If you spend money on stupid things, you're not only spending money, you're also spending your time on it, and you're also spending your mental bandwidth. So I will try to not be tempted by lifestyle traps, expensive cars, watches, and so on. That's not that clever, to be honest, and these people will be crushed by people that don't care about external things. They just want to acquire power. And maybe the most attractive thing I see in capital, I see in wealth, is power and influence. It's the game that everyone plays, and I might as well be one of the best in it. The next thing is personal development, and if you want to be a successful entrepreneur or a successful capital allocator, you need to have a very clear mind. And to be a clear thinker, you need to be reading a lot, you need to have mental models that will improve your life, and you have to hang out with people that are smarter than you, usually. And you also need to develop skills. So really the only way to become a successful entrepreneur is to be all-around success. So don't just work on your business, but work on yourself also. As one of my mentors, Simone, said, you don't really have a business problem, you have a personal problem that becomes present while you're working on your business. Because your businesses, your projects are really the part of yourself, if that makes sense. And in my skill development, I will be focusing on soft skills, like how to make media better, how to write better, how to edit better, how to script better, how to make videos better, copywriting, persuasion, all this stuff. And also I will be focusing on technical skills, like design or front-end development. The better skills you have, the more money you can extract from the market, the better you can solve other people's problem. And to be honest, everything in entrepreneurship or in life is just a skill issue. If you don't have something, that means you're not good enough. Maybe you can stay at the same skill level and the market will catch up with you and reward you. But you need to deserve it. There are some market inefficiencies. For example, maybe your YouTube channel deserves a lot more subscribers than you now have, but I think it's not really that. Your only option is to become better. The world is not a crazy enough place to reward undeserving people. And the last part of my system is to be mentally and physically healthy. To be a centimillionaire, I need to live long enough, just to ensure that all my projects will come to fruition, because everything in entrepreneurship just takes time and effort, and sometimes it will take a lot more time than you thought. I think every person that wants to become successful needs to have a long-term thinking, because every project is just something that you build for the long term. It doesn't bring you rewards right away. Everything good that happens with us has like a compounding interest. The more books you read, the more knowledge you have, and the knowledge compounds. And the wealth compounds, or your projects all compound. Or for example, your relationships or your physical appearance. If you go to the gym, you don't see results right away. It all compounds with time. Every ultra wealthy person is just a long-term thinker. And I think the epitome of long-term thinking is Warren Buffett and his like snowball mentality. Like the more money I invest now, the more money I will have later. Also, if you want to become an ultra successful person, a lot of sacrifices need to be made. Because if you don't sacrifice for your goal becomes the sacrifice. And I sacrificed, I wouldn't say a lot. I don't have a dating life. I don't really entertain myself with video games or films with loud music. I don't really have like what a normal person will think like a normal life. I have an unbalanced life. And if you're an entrepreneur in your initial stages, I think you might need to have like this monk mode mentality or like this extreme mentality to sacrifice everything else for the sake of your goal. Because if you don't sacrifice for your goal becomes the sacrifice. If you don't dive deeper into your problem, into your business, into your like path, you don't really progress. But the question you need to ask yourself is, why do you need to do this? Why do you need to sacrifice? Why do you need to become successful in the first place? And for me, I just derive an extreme pleasure from seeing numbers going up. And also, capital is like power. You acquire more capital, you become more powerful, you become more influential. And I think that's the thing I'm after. I want to become more powerful and more influential, and I'm willing to sacrifice for it. Some people might not, maybe you're not, maybe I'm not. In the end. And that's really it. The video became kind of random, I think. But if you want to continue to watch my channel, click this video right now. I will appreciate it. See ya.